I think that there are two reasons that people are talking about this book. Because it does bring home. Suddenly Donald Trump is on the page, I think, in a way that he hasn't been. And also because Donald Trump doesn't want anyone to read this book. So.
The way that it's portrayed and the way, a lot of people in our audience especially have read about it is that you became a fly on the wall in the West Wing. And that because of maybe a lack of structure or typical structure and organization in the West Wing, you were kind of just there. And that's how it's been portrayed. And so kind of walk us through, like, it's a Monday morning, you walk into the White House.
Yes, and that's basically what happened. The point is that nobody said that I couldn't do this.
Okay.
Right.
So then you just begin to make appointments. And it's like, I mean, I know who the senior staff is, and they have all basically been told that they should speak to me. Now, but I think the thing you have to understand is that this is all done in a kind of passive or by the by sense. Oh, there's this guy, and he's and he spoke to the president, and he spoke to Steve, and maybe if you had a second, you can talk to him.
So there definitely has been, especially within the journalistic community, a lot of questions around, was it clear when you were on the record, off the record?
It was completely clear. This is just, I mean, I can stop this right now. It was the way anyone who spoke to me wanted to speak to me.
You've been doing a ton of press for this book. It's obviously gotten a lot of press pickup. I'm curious about one of the interviews that you did recently in which you implied or you said that you think that President Trump is currently having an affair, but that you didn't have enough proof to put it in the book. I'm curious about you saying that on television, but not having enough proof to write it in the book. What made you feel like that was the right thing to say?
Well, I just didn't say who. I didn't have enough proof to say who this was with, and I didn't say that.
But you led people. You said, if you read very closely towards the latter half of the book, and some people took that to mean that it was Ambassador Nikki Haley.
All I can say is the book is the book. If it's in there, if you see it, if it's not in there, I can't account for the way other people have read this book.
Right, but you can say that he's having an affair, but you didn't have enough proof to put it in there. So I'm just wondering, when you think through that moment, do you feel like that was a fair thing to lead people to kind of hunt through who he's having an affair with?
This is a man who has spent the entirety of his life pursuing women. Every day, possibly every hour of every day. I think it seems, on the basis of that history, self-confessed, by the way, that it would be unlikely that behavior would have stopped just because he went into the White House.
When we look at especially in the last week since you went on television and said that, there's been a lot of speculation that you were referencing Ambassador Nikki Haley. And so Ambassador Haley has come out quite vocally, really distraught about this, and especially in the moment.
Or she seems to me, I would say she seems to have embraced it.
Well, why do you say she's embraced it?
Well, I don't know. All she does is hammer on this fact. I mean, if I were being accused of something and I'm not accusing her of anything, I mean, she hasn't tried to avoid this, let's say. And there is no one. The book doesn't accuse her. I didn't accuse her. So in effect, some other reporter accused her.
A lot of the kind of response to Ambassador Haley being a part of a conversation right now has been, this is an example in a moment that's really a watershed moment for women, especially women in the workplace, of a high-powered woman really being part of a conversation that, well, I wonder how she got that position. I understand that you were saying you never said her name out loud, but do you understand how it would be interpreted that way?
I don't understand how anything would be interpreted. I mean, literally the book is the book. So how you read it, and if reporters then call her up and say, I think you're the one having the affair, I think you should get those reporters in here and ask them about that.
So one thing that we want to do is, you cover a lot of people in this book, and we want to do a lightning round of, there's been a ton of speculation about how people make out, by the end of the Trump presidency. Where do you think that Bannon ends up?
We're going to do lightning round. You have to say it in one sentence. We're going to go through each person. Okay, you don't like games. Okay, so One thing that I would love to understand, you say the book is the book. What is the book?
It is a portrait of the first, essentially, 7 months of this administration. It's from the beginning, what I wanted to do was write an inside account. That is to say, an account that could portray how people closest to the president felt about the president, about this moment in history, and ultimately then about their conclusions.
What did you find most surprising that you uncovered in your time in the White House?
The fact that the people closest to the president, and I've said this before and I'll continue to say it, 100% of the people closest to the president came to believe that he could not do this job.